Hey ladies, do you want to get in the real estate investing game but just don't know where to begin? In this episode, the real estate investor goddess Monick Halm is going to share some simple tips how we can get in the real estate investing game and win.
Welcome to the Financial Fornicating with Madam Money podcast, where fun financial tips are shared for healthier and sexier relationships with your money and credit. This is Tarra Jackson, aka Madam Money, and I am looking forward to sharing this information. One, because it's been a lifelong dream for me to be a real estate investor, and I have a lot of friends that are real estate investors and keep telling me, Tarra, stop being a scaredy cat and just jump right on in. And if I get in, I'm going to be a beast at it, and I know it. But it's one of those things where you have your biggest success is in your oh shit moment. And real estate investing is my oh shit moment. And so the more that I can have those oh shit moments, and I forgot this is rated PG 18 for those that are listening, the more that I have those oh shit moments, the more that I do see success. And so it's funny how beautiful and wonderful real estate investors keep popping in my life to make me realize that I have to take that jump and say, oh shit, and be successful in real estate investing. And that's why I have a cute, yeah, she's so adorable, a cute desk, Monick Halm. She is an awesome real estate investor, but she is going to tell us about how we can start as women in the real estate investing game, right? So I'm like, okay, real estate investing in women, that has got to be the most beautiful relationship ever. And I have to stop being scared and say, oh shit, let's do it. All right, Monick, thank you for helping me with my moment. I so appreciate you. I can financially fornicate with everything else. I need to start financially fornicating with some real estate investing. So
You
thank
sure
you.
do.
Yeah, it's about that time, man. 2019 is my year to really dive in. So thank you for coming on and helping me to really understand how I can make this happen. I really appreciate you. You just don't.
I'm so happy to be here.
So, but before we get started, because I have a few questions for you, tell us a little bit about Monick Halm, the real estate queen. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a real estate investor. I've been investing for 13 years, and I also created a group for women real estate investors called Real Estate Investor Goddesses. But I did not start my career as a real estate investor. I started as an attorney, right? I had wonderful parents who were super supportive and said, you can do whatever you want, in parentheses, as long as that's being a lawyer, doctor,
Right,
professor,
right. As
engineer.
long as it's this,
As
yeah.
long as it's you go to college and then grad school and then do this, you know, that type of job. And for first generation Americans, my parents, I mean, I'm a first generation American. That was all I knew. So I went to law school. I became a lawyer. I was working in a law firm, partnership track, six-figure income. I should have been thrilled, but I hated my life. I hated practice. I was so miserable. And the only thing I'd ever been taught about real estate investing or real estate was to buy your own home. And after a few years, I said, okay, well, I guess I have a little bit of money saved up. Let me buy a home. But that was in LA 2005, and that was towards the top of the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I had a six-figure income in Los Angeles in 2005, getting a home in even a somewhat decent neighborhood was costing upwards of $600, $700, $800,000.
Right.
And I
Right.
couldn't afford one by myself. And a friend of mine who was in a similar position said, why don't we buy a duplex together? You live on one side, I'll live on the other side. And since I could afford half a house, I thought,
Okay.
I said, okay, let's do that. So we ended up finding this property, though, that instead of having two equal sides, had one unit that was much bigger and nicer and more spacious than the other. And it had two other units that were smaller. But we fell in love with this place and we bought it, and we decided we'd each take a bedroom in the bigger unit and we rented out the other two. And I discovered something. I discovered that my tenants were paying my mortgage and I was
Right.
saving money and I was paying less taxes and all of these really beautiful things that nobody had ever taught me about. So I was an accidental investor. And when I met my husband, he had a duplex. Then we got a single family rental. Then after the crash, when properties were on sale
Mm-hmm.
in 2010, we ended up selling one of the properties and we were flipping houses. We did that for a few years until they were not quite on sale. So this was 2015. I was getting a lot more competitive and really expensive and hard to find deals that made sense. And we decided that instead of flipping, we were going to look for a fourplex, 4-unit building that we could buy and hold and rent out. But in LA, it was so expensive. We couldn't find anything that made that if we could afford it, it would actually give us any cash flow because it was so pricey. And I happened to meet this man that would become my mentor, and a 10-minute conversation with him totally changed the trajectory of my life.
Nice.
And it's like you were saying that when you're ready, like people just keep showing up in your experience that help guide you along. And that was what happened with me.
Nice.
So I was talking to a mutual friend of ours, telling him that, we're looking for the fourplex and how frustrating it was. And he said, you should talk to my friend, Robert Helms. He's going to be in Los Angeles tomorrow night, coming out to this event I'm doing. Robert Helms is the host of the Real Estate Guys radio podcast. It's the #1 real estate podcast in the country. He said he's also done hundreds of millions of dollars worth of real estate investing. You should talk to him. And I went, yeah, he probably knows something or two. So I went and 10-minute conversation before the event just completely shifted all of this stuff for me. So he asked me what I was doing. I told him about the flipping and looking for the fourplex. And then he said, and I was telling him how frustrated he was. And he said, the first paradigm he busted for me is when he said, LA is a tough market. I always say, live where you want to live, invest where the numbers make sense. And I went, I just never thought of that. I always thought you had to invest where you could drive to your property, touch it, manage it yourself. And the thought of investing anywhere outside where I live literally opened up the world to me. So that was the first huge thing he said. And the next thing he said was, and you could buy this fourplex by yourself, but you're limited to your own capital and credit. He said, alternatively, you can bring a group of investors together and you could get a 100 or 200 unit apartment building. And he started talking about all the benefits of that and the leverage and how sharing the risk and sharing the gains and how you can grow a lot faster, further.
Yeah.
And that just completely blew my mind because it's like 200 unit apartment building. I thought you needed Donald Trump's bank account to do that kind of thing. I had no idea that was possible.
It is possible because a friend of mine, Ramon Tooks, he was an attorney as well. And that's what he did. That's one of the things that he taught me. He's like, Tarra, you don't have to do it with just your money. You can get investors. You can build a team. Use other people's money. If you don't have the credit, you can either do hard money, soft money. You could use other people's credit, OPC. And it just, that opens the world. So like you said, when you're really ready for something, God just brings you the people in there for confirmation, for support within that. And that's so awesome that you were able to meet the real estate guru to really change your perspective on that, which makes you successful now. Now, I understand that you've written a book. Tell us a little bit about the book that you've written.
So I wrote a book. It's called The Real Estate Investor Goddess Handbook. Everything you need to know to invest in real estate like a goddess. One of the things that I recognized is I started going deeper into real estate and I would go to all of these conferences because once I decided that I wanted to syndicate, bring other people's money together, I knew I had to get very educated. You always want to be educated when you're investing, but it's one thing when you're using your own money. If you're using other people's money, like you cannot fool around with that. You need to really know what you're doing. So as I was going around just going to lots and lots of trainings, I noticed that generally 90% of the room is men. and most of the people on stage are men. There are very few women in this game, and I wanted to change that. And I think that one of the reasons that a lot of women aren't investing is they don't know exactly what steps to take. They don't know, a lot of times they don't even know it's for them or possibility, like how I was when all I knew about was going to law school and buying a home. So a lot of people think, oh, invest in real estate. They're like, yeah, I want to buy my own home. And that's not what I mean at all. It's really getting cash, having your money working for you with cash flowing investment properties. And I just wanted to create something where women could. It was written in plain English. It's very easy to read and understand, but very thorough. And so it was the book that I wish I'd had a long time ago.
Nice. And I can't wait to get that book and read it.
Yeah. So there's actually, if you or any of your listeners want to go, you can go to tinyurl.com/free REIG book, and you can get a free copy of the book. Just pay shipping and handling. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool. I love that. And we'll make sure we put that in the description of the podcast as well, so we can definitely get a free copy of that book. Now, you have an upcoming book. You have a new book coming out as well?
I do. So one of the things that is really crucial, and I talk about in the first book, is the importance of having a team. Real estate investing is a team sport. You really need a great team around you, brokers and accountants and maintenance people and there are people that can also help you invest in different opportunities. You don't necessarily have to invest using your own time. You can invest in ways where you don't have to deal with what I call the 3 T's: tenants, toilets, termites. Other people can do that. So I brought together 19 incredible women that I've discovered through my years of real estate that all have their own unique way of helping others invest. So some are, we have a CPA, and we have a woman who's in construction, and we have a broker, and we have people that help others invest in assisted living facilities or mobile homes or tax liens and all these different ways of investing. So it's this dream team of women. And the book's called Wealth for Women: Conversations with the Team That Helps You Create the Dream. And it's going to be coming out next month. It will be available on Amazon.
I love it. Available on Amazon.com. So I look forward to that. It just reminds me of a good friend of mine, Sonia Booker. She is one of those women that are pushing me to get into the real estate investing game. So I have a few friends that they either wholesale, they either flip, or they either hold. And it's good to have perspectives from all three. And so that is so awesome. So I have some questions for you as it relates, these podcasts are really for me. They're really for me. I just have great conversations with people and allow people to listen in and hope that it helps people. But this one is really for me. But why do you feel that women don't invest in real estate? Why don't more women invest in real estate?
That's such a good question, because we tend to have better results. For the most part, women are more successful as real estate investors when they actually get into it. But I think there are 3 main reasons why they don't. First, they don't often because they don't even think of it as a possibility for them. They just don't know that it's possible. Like me, I was educated, but I thought real estate investing was for the Donald Trumps of the world, or, it was for other people. It just wasn't something that I thought was possible. So that was the first thing. And then I think other people, they know it's a possibility, and maybe it's more like that it's out there, but maybe you don't know what steps to take. Right? You're feeling a bit, it's like, okay, well, I want to invest, but what am I supposed to do next? How do I get started? So I think that's also what keeps a lot of women, and they're afraid of losing money. They're afraid of messing up. So, and they don't know what steps to take, but I think education really helps with that. And then the last thing is, sometimes that it's there and you know what steps to take, but it's that fear that keeps women from moving forward. There's so much fear about messing up, and there's some in it. I understand, because it's generally the most money you're going to invest in anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There are ways of investing that require a lot less money, but still, that when you talk about real estate, you tend to be talking about big numbers,
Right.
and that can terrify people. So a lot of the antidote for that, often for women, is to have a community of support around that can, this for women, I think it's particularly important to have a sisterhood. And it sounds like you have some sisters around you that are like, you can do this.
Right. Sisters and brother. Like, there's not you can do this. It's bitch, you better do it now.
Yeah, it's like, do this, right?
Do it already.
But sometimes you need that sisterhood.
Mm-hmm.
You need the education, and you need the sisterhood. And that's what I tried to create with Real Estate Investor Goddesses, because it's a sisterhood of women interested in real estate investing, and it's an educational program and a mentorship. So all of it's really geared. It's this little I don't know. I call it like it's a nest to help you, like this, like
to help you
your little
fly.
birdie, yeah,
to help you fly, and then push you out the nest. Yeah.
But then come back and help others to fly too.
Exactly. So you mentioned the goddess. So what is the goddess secret sauce? And it allows women to invest more easily and with easy and flow, or something like that. What is that goddess secret sauce?
So we're different, right? Like, not only on a chromosomal level, right? Like, maybe it starts with our chromosomes, but we're different than men, and we're different in how we navigate and deal with money and invest. And when we can harness those differences, I call that the goddess secret sauce. So the first part of the goddess secret sauce, it's pleasure. I love it. You're financial fornicator, because I think orgasm is a big part of it.
Yeah, I do talk about financial orgasms, but that's a whole nother podcast.
Like, literally, orgasms are lubricators, but it's more broad than just sexual pleasure, obviously. But for men, they will muscle through. They work really hard. They have to man up and muscle through, and it's a lot of like aggressive, no pain, no gain type of thing. But for women, we actually work much better if we move through pleasure. So instead of muscling through, if we pleasure through, we find ways to bring more pleasure and joy into our experience. And I'm not kidding, that orgasm, literally, it's very like a powerful.
I'm so gonna use that. So
yeah, I literally orgasm.
She is going to get credit through this podcast, but afterwards, I'm so using that in everything that I talk about. Okay?
It's true. I mean, literally, the orgasm is this powerful creative force. My husband and I orgasmed our way to over 1,000 units in a year. So literally, that's
a beautiful way to do. I can't wait to get into real estate investing now.
Yeah, you can do it with pleasure.
I am super excited about that.
and then, but it's not just orgasm, but orgasm is a powerful
it's a
every day,
motivator,
by yourself or with others. And then the second part of the secret sauce is our intuition. Women's intuition is a super powerful force, and it's really important that we learn to hear it and trust it and follow it, because it really does guide us on the right path. And I know that personally, I've been steered. The only times I've made decisions where I've really regretted it is when I've heard that intuitive voice and ignored it. Whenever I hear the intuitive voice and go for it, I'm always really happy that I've done it. So that's the intuition. And then the third part of the secret sauce is sisterhood. We women are literally wired to be around one another. Have you heard of the oxytocin? Oxytocin is this feel-good hormone. It's our bonding hormone. So with women, it comes out in 3 ways. 1, sex and orgasm. We're like bonding with our partners. 2 is when we're breastfeeding. And 3 is when we are in groups of women.
Wow.
So literally, our brain lights up in the same way when we are around women. So and there are studies that show that being around women reduces stress. For women, being around other women, we learn better. There are all of these benefits to us to being in sisterhood. And so that's the secret sauce: the pleasure, the intuition, and the secret, and then the sisterhood. And there's another part too. It's a bonus, but it really has to do with your mindset. and having the right abundance mindset to achieve dreams.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what is the formula, or is that the formula, or is there another formula to building wealth through real estate for women?
Yeah. So my formula, it the it's wealthy. WEALTHY. That's the formula. So W is for womanly, and that's using the secret sauce. E is for education. You need to have education. You need to know, you really do need the education piece to understand what's a good deal and what's not. A is for assets. So understanding what asset class is right for you, and also how to protect your assets. L is location. They say that what are the top 3 rules of real estate? Rule number 1, location. Rule number 2, location. Rule number 3, location. So it's really important to understand what is a good property market, and then and within that property market, what's a good submarket, what's a good street, what are the important things about location for an investment, which is not necessarily the same thing as for your home you're going to live in. Live where you want to live, invest where the numbers make sense. T is for team. You need like I was saying before, it's a team sport. You need a solid team behind you. H, this is the one that's a little bit of a stretch. H is how to pay for it, right? So how do you finance your property? So a lot of people they understand using their own capital and credit, but there are a lot of different ways, as you were mentioning some before. Your hard money, your private lending, there's seller financing, there's syndication. There are a lot of different ways in which you can go about getting the money for your property. So how do you do it? So that's the H. And Y is you. So how do you fit in? Because real estate investing is not one size fits all. It really is about finding the way to invest that makes the most use of your desire, your resources, your natural skills and talents, and factors in your desires around real estate and where you want to be. So that's the formula. Wealthy.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So again, tell us the name of the books and where we can find books. I know you have what's the name of the upcoming book that's coming out?
It's called Wealth for Women, Conversations with the Team That Creates the Dream.
Love it. That's coming out on Amazon.com. You said that's coming out next month?
Yes, it's
great. And your existing book?
It's called
what is that book?
The Real Estate Investor Goddess Handbook. And to get it, you can go to Amazon and pay $20, or you can go to the tinyurl.com/free REIG book. Free REIG book. So Real Estate Investor Goddess REIG book.
And how can we get in contact with you? Maybe we want to become a goddess or connect with you.
You are a goddess, but to connect with me, you can go to realestateinvestorgoddesses.com, and there you can join our sisterhood and connect with me and find out about what we have coming up. Like we have an event in November here in LA, and all sorts of other fun things.
That is so wonderful, Monick. You are destined to be in my life. So I so appreciate you. God knows what he's doing. When I have it in my mind, he just throws me people. So he just threw you into my life. And then she had a nerve to start talking orgasm. I can't wait to start investing in real estate now, boy.
It just gets better and better. Yes.
He's getting better, boy. He knows how to get me. My goodness. Thank you so much, Monick, for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
I hope all of the listeners get super excited, especially about the women, about real estate investing, and that you too can do that. You don't have to do it in your own backyard. You live where you want to live, but you invest where it makes sense. SENSE and CENTS. That is dollars.
Yes,
absolutely. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Remember, ignorance is not bliss. It's expensive as hell. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Hey there, this is Tarra Jackson, aka Madam Money. I just want to thank you so much for listening to the Financial Fornicating with Madam Money podcast. And want to give a special shout out to our sponsors and supporters, Kimberly Singletary, Edeline Francois Dryden, and Candace Arnold. Your contributions are helping us to continue to further the podcast for people who really need it. And if you'd like to be a sponsor or if you'd like to be a supporter today, just click on the support this podcast and you can make contributions as low as 80 cents, as low as $1 a month. You can do whatever you want, but any contribution to support this podcast is greatly appreciated so we can continue to spread financial literacy across the world. Hey, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Thank you for your support.